Hey everyone, it's Sidney with Dennison Yachting, and I am beyond excited today to take you on a walkthrough of one of our firm's newest listings. She's a 2018 76 Riva, and she goes by the name of 2QUICK. The boat holds a tremendous amount of sentimental value to me personally because she was the last yacht that I ran full-time for the current owner prior to my transition to yacht brokerage. We just had to spend 2 days on this boat. I did come yesterday in my suit, pen and pad ready to go, thinking I was gonna one and done this yacht, but there were just so many details that I felt like I'd forget. So I wanted to break it down in 2 days for you guys to really go through the spaces and all the technical areas. Certain details that I wanna highlight about the boat that people should really know about, because it's not always about the major details, it's also about the minor details that make and separate a good builder from a great builder. And that's what's special about Riva. They go that far into those type of details to make the aesthetics of the exterior just look uncomparable, I want to say, to pretty much any other boat. Now that we have 2QUICK back in the slip, tied off, secured, it's a great place to start our walkthrough on the transom here. I have our hydraulic swim platform underfoot. Just in front, tender garage, stores a 325 Williams jet tender. You can get the tender in and out, no problem at all, just under 10 minutes. Under this cover here, we have our 325 Williams jet tender. Super cool thing to have on a boat. Owner can deploy it easily, drop the swim platform, let this thing roll out, and next thing you know, you're 40, 50 mile an hour on the flat calm seas to an island doing a picnic or something. Glide it right in and you're good to go. Under the hydraulic rams, we have storage racks for the dive tanks. It's a convenient place to put them. You can easily sit on the swim platform, mount the gear up without scuffing anything on the main deck or moving stuff around. So now that we have the swim platform down, it's gonna expose how the tender rollout system works, but also when the swim platform's closer up to these steps, these fiberglass molded stairs are how you access the main deck here. On the starboard side here, we open this hatch and you'll find freshwater hookups and your transom shower, hot, cold control there. Step lights just in case it's nighttime and you want to have some better visibility to where the steps are. And here we have our Glendenning along with the receptacles that are used for the swim platform remote and the tender winch remote. This last object here is the photocell receptor for the Beznazoni remote. That way, if you're at the dock, you can deploy the passerelle remotely. She's of course equipped with a Beznazoni passerelle, and it's just one of the 3 ways you can board this boat. If you're conveniently located at a marina where there's cement floating docks in place, you can board from port or starboard on the swim platform. Third option would be using the UMT step ladder, which in those situations when you're making that last minute reservation to the Bahamas, they don't have any slips available, they got to put you on the end of the T-head. You have a UMT step ladder to access on a fixed dock. The next area we're going to be covering is this aft portion of the main deck. Certainly a hot spot, and I don't mean that literally because it's 90 to 100 degrees out. I mean that because when it comes to congregating with guests and owners, this spot can easily hold 10 to 12 people. To starboard, you can have maybe 4 or 5. And this asymmetrical theme you see here continues forward and beyond into the cockpit. Now, I've walked up and down these steps thousands of times, and as a crew member, you really start to appreciate the deck's hardware is just tucked away. Sometimes you're in a rush to grab a stern line, or you're walking casually with a plate of hors d'oeuvres. What I love about the mooring hardware tucked away in these kind of spaces is that it's not something that you're going to trip over in a high traffic area. When it comes to accessing the machinery spaces, we have 2 options. The deck hatch underfoot here, and also the primary access, which is through the crew quarters. So just came down the primary access to the crew accommodation here. A lot of people have a lot to say about how Italian crew quarters are sometimes compromised in design. It's safe to say, me being 6'1", I got plenty of room in here. I don't mind it at all. Behind me, ensuite, shower, head. So just beyond this hanging locker is the access to the machinery space through the watertight door. This forward bulkhead has the fuel tank hidden behind. She holds about 1,479 gallons. Here's the manual sight gauge that you can view from this space. This pocket door will close, and that would bring us into the crew accommodation itself. We have our distribution panel here. One side has direct current systems, the other side has your alternating current systems, and I think it's pretty cool that Captain Bo had left these stickers that I did put here a few years ago. This was our old 63 Newport Shipyard, Martha's Vineyard Black Dog, very nostalgic. Here are the bunk configurations, not all too bad. You know, I used to sleep on the top bunk, bottom bunk for the other mate or stew. Pretty much your own radio station, reading light. So we're now in the underbelly of 2QUICK. and you see these huge 12-cylinder MAN 1800 horsepower engines, you might be asking, how fast does a boat like this go? What does she burn? At 32 knots, she's burning 150 gallons an hour. You can tone that down to 24, 26 knots, and you'll probably hit 100, 120 gallons an hour at that rate. Behind these engines here on the to port and starboard, you have twin 21.5 kW Cummins Onan generators. Underneath this fiberglass structure, you will find the Seakeeper gyro stabilizer. To starboard of that, we have our steering pumps and also our electro-hydraulic pumps, which control the trim tabs, stabilization system, passerelle, the swim ladder, for example, and also the garage. We'll switch over to the port side. We got some batteries over here, house batteries, generator batteries as well. The chiller system, powered by Dometic right after that. Now this AC chiller system controls and regulates all the air handlers throughout the yacht's staterooms and accommodations and main salon, etc., and also in the cockpit area. So on this port bulkhead here, you have your MAN LOPs, which are very important in an emergency situation. Say you're experiencing a mechanical failure with the engines, you can start and stop them from here. These set buttons allow you to control different functionalities that these offer. If you were to be in an emergency situation, someone locally can actually start and stop the engines from this space right here, but only to be used for emergencies. Typically start up from the main helm there. Last thing I want to point out, the battery chargers and inverters that control the alternating current and direct current systems throughout the boat. And next to the battery chargers and inverters, you have your fixed firefighting system, which is an HFC 227, and this is actually heptafluoropropane. Say that 3 times, but it is a gas that extinguishes through the engine room if there were to be a fire throughout. I guess the admirable feeling you'd get running a yacht like this, putting it into a slip, going on long crossings or up and down the east coast of Sag Harbor in the summers, and it's safe to say that I do miss this, but I love my job now even more. You know, I get to be on yachts like this, have a mobile office. Some of the things that can transition over from the captain world is the fact that you're meticulous and pay close attention to detail, whether it's things that need to be improved on the yacht or things that need to be maintenance. From an operational standpoint, for me, visibility is everything. And I noticed underway, while I was seated, I wasn't able to see over the bow perfectly. So what I had done was custom-made carbon fiber bases, which elevated the eye level. That way, when you're seated during a long crossing and the autopilot's in gear, you can comfortably see everything without having to stand up every 2 seconds. And these are the kind of improvements that go a long way, especially on a newly designed yacht that was just debuted. These type of things you got to figure out on your own as a captain. Instead of navigating up and down the East Coast or all through the Bahamas, I get to help owners navigate their way through the transactional process of owning a yacht. In addition to how neatly the mooring hardware is tucked away on the aft portion of the yacht, you'll also notice midship, the hardware is tucked away as well here. That's where the other cleat is. And just forward of that, towards the foredeck, you have another cleat, aesthetically blends really well with the stainless steel stanchions. Continuing on the foredeck, teak underfoot, and we have these non-skid step plates to get into this recessed entertainment space. We have JL audio speakers on both sides, a volume control. Now you can visualize this space in 1 or 2 ways. How you see it now, or when the carbon fiber seat top closes this area off, opening up the cockpit to the elements. And just forward of that seating area, we have a nice sun pad for 3, but you can squeeze 5 to 6 on here for sure. Acrylic cup holders to complement, and also just more stainless steel and step lights throughout so you can see where you're going. There's a blue LED step light that goes all the way up walkways here on the side decks, and it illuminates this boat pretty well and matches with the underwater lights, giving it a whole Mediterranean yacht effect. I want to shift our attention real quick off the carbon fiber seat top and talk a little bit about the carbon fiber radar arch that conjoins the two. In a symmetrical fashion, you have your KVH antennas on port and starboard side, GPS antennas, and the Wi-Fi extenders. Centerline, Furuno radar, behind that is your FLIR pan tilt zoom. Most importantly, you'll notice that there's hinges on this stainless steel mast, custom fabricated to fold, that way it can clear the bridge at Sag Harbor Yacht Cove where we would take this boat up in the summertime. Returning from the foredeck back aft, we're in the cockpit. One thing I didn't mention was when we were talking about the hotspot in this entertainment area is that this could also be shaded. There are carbon fiber poles, as you see, to port and starboard, and there's inserts for those poles just aft towards the transom where you can shade that entire aft sun pad back there. Up a step to the other part of the cockpit towards the helm area, we have that asymmetrical theme continuing on through here with more seating on the starboard side, seating on the port side as well, chase lounge facing aft, and also a helm seat behind me facing forward for owners or guests want to catch that vantage point, sit next to Cap, ask him some questions and stuff. It happens all the time. This seating area, formal dining, could be used here, but typically down below deck is where a formal dining area should be. This area can seat probably 10 to 12 guests. Over here on the port side, we have our wet bar area and also storage. I will use this high gloss teak handrail to show you and expose the cockpit grill and the sink used for this area. Underneath the grill is mounted a isotherm ice maker. And just forward to the alfresco dining area, we have a ice chest, which is wedged between the helm seats. I do want to add that air conditioning is present in the cockpit. This might not be an enclosed air-conditioned space, but it does help to have these vents behind you when you're sitting at this L-shaped settee. You're on a yacht, you're out in the elements, and that's what it's all about. You have a cross breeze, and plus, captain and crew, they do have their air conditioning blown right on them here at the Helm Station. And as you can see, she is well equipped with an array of electronics here. We'll start from the top to the analog displays, which will show you your water, oil, pressures, temperatures, etc. Just to the right of that, you have your boning display that will give you all the operational parameters that you need when operating this yacht. To port, we have our ignition, start, emergency stops. You also have these LED indicators which will alarm you for exhaust temperatures if they're high, or water in your fuel filters. You have your array of electronics. These multifunction displays basically are powered through this Naviop system, which actually is the ship's control system. It'll show you your freshwater, fuel, gray, black water levels. Centerline, he has his chart data, AIS, etc. And to starboard, he has his radar, which is on standby at the moment. You have your throttles by ZF here, side power, bow and stern thrusters, controls for the interceptors or trim tabs, if you will, your autopilot control, wiper controls, ship's horn, lighting, battery parallel, also the Furuno controller for the Naviop screens. We are back. Now that we wrapped up here at the helm, we will use this sliding door and down a set of stairs to the lower deck. Stepping down into the Salon, can't but help notice the staggering design that you'll find on any Riva. You can tell all the materials when it comes to the leather wrapped grab rails, high gloss finishes throughout, and also satin finishes. This is very reminiscent of their flagship models historically through time, and they keep repeating that on every new design and every new build, and keeping that tradition going is what makes this boat so special and sets it apart from everything else. Moving forward through the Salon, the space can be used for many things. This table alone, whether you want to play cards, spread hors d'oeuvres out here, fruits and stuff, or even catch up on some emails, this is a great space to do it, whatever that may be. This boat conveniently does have Wi-Fi throughout, and it's crazy because I used to sit here and do the same type of administrative work, you know, catching up on emails, whether it's contacting vendors or following up on yard periods. But I would also do my expense reports for the boat here. I'd sit here for an hour or two and knock out all the expenses that I ran on the card for the month. It's pretty cool to sit here now, full circle as a yacht broker and being the listing agent of this boat. It all feels surreal. Just after the television is the entrance to the galley, where you do have an option for a pocket door to close off this area. As you can see, another example of how Riva makes the most of a limited space. We have our Liebherr refrigeration and freezer combo behind me, Miele cooktop, Miele convection oven. We have our GE microwave inside of this cabinet. And lastly, under the countertop, you have a Miele dishwasher discreetly hidden here. In addition to the pantry story up above, there is storage underfoot for additional provisions. Down a set of stairs into the landing area of the owner's suite, we have additional storage here and a combo washer dryer. It's not a secret that Riva as a brand is associated with success, adventure, and I truly feel this owner suite fully encapsulates all of those characteristics, from the leather trims, stainless steel, and the obsidian varnish that's repeated throughout this entire boat. For storage, we have cubbies underneath the TV, a hanging locker just to starboard, and below these leather countertops along the starboard side. Transitioning over to the port side, we have our ensuite, which is subdivided in 3 areas. Aft, you have behind the glass door a toilet and bidet. In the space that I'm standing, there's a new construction material introduced here, which is Calcutta marble, personal favorite of mine. Emerald amber tones within the veins of the marble. And on the forward side beyond the glass is a shower stall. Now we'll pick up where we left off, forward of the dinette through the companionway where the other guest accommodations were. So this cabin is not only for the children, because the furnishings, the finishes, and also amenities are more than adequate for adults as well. Our third and final stateroom, the VIP cabin, what more can you ask for? With how aggressive and sleek the hull design is on the bow area especially, this is still a substantial amount of space for your VIP guest. Another notable feature in here, hanging lockers to port and starboard, and you also have storage above the windows. Here is our ensuite head and shower, overall top-notch luxurious materials. We could have easily made this video an hour long going through this entire boat from bow to stern, but unfortunately we're going to end this video walkthrough today on the aft deck. The covers are on, we're closing up shop and getting ready to get out of here. Having the opportunity to wear both hats today was an amazing experience, whether it was me showing you the boat as a yacht broker or me grabbing an old uniform and throwing this on, showing you the boat as a crew member. I really hope you guys enjoy this walkthrough just as much as I loved creating it for you. And if you ever have any questions regarding the specifications or equipment on board this yacht, please give me a call, 954-696-8163.